What's good? Good afternoon. It is pretty much 3 o'clock, Tuesday, June 10th. Been a pretty productive day today thus far. Nothing too crazy. Woke up this morning, I have physical therapy today. We tried something new called needling, which she literally took a needle and pressed it into my hip flexor muscles. It didn't feel too bad. I thought it was gonna be much more painful than it was, but luckily it wasn't. I was sore after though. Literally, I was driving to the gym, leaving there, going to the gym, and I was like, dang, yo, my hip starting to feel sore, bro. I got out of the car, yo, I was sore as hell. Now, after a couple hours, I'm not as sore. It's still a little sore, but it's not bad though. It's not bad. It's as if I did like hip flexor workouts. That's how it felt. But physical therapy was good. After that, went to the gym, had a good shoulder day. Ended up coming to the school. This really be the main spot now, at least for the time being. So came to the school for real. Went to the library, just doing research. I'm trying to get into more like AI stuff, like trying to use like ChatGPT to like help me and stuff like that, give me ideas. So played around with that, which that was actually pretty good. It creates pretty decent images as well. So just learning that, but apparently ChatGPT is down. So of course the day I look into it ends up being down. But I was able to do some things before the crash happened. But anyway, I was reading 33 Strategies of War, and there was one particular chapter chapter 5. It's called Avoid the Snares of Groupthink, the Command and Control Strategy. So I was essentially talking about like how to be a leader essentially, and groupthink is the bias of the group. So he explained essentially how typically when there's like a group of people, everyone tries to be relatively political. No one wants to stray too far away, and everyone wants to kind of keep the same opinion. But at the same time, keeping that opinion and not having someone to delegate ends up leading you to ruin. So he was talking about different ways that you could essentially, he was essentially just talking about different leadership strategies. And one thing that I thought was very, very interesting was the concept of it's your fault. And I've heard this on multiple facets, not necessarily just leadership, but he was saying that it is your fault if you're leading a group and they fail. If you're leading, whether you're going into war, whether it's a business meeting, whether you have a company you're running, whatever that is, if it fails, everything comes back to you because you're the leader. You have to make sure that everything is strong, communication is set, that you have to make smart decisions upon yourself. And one thing he talked about was kind of like this mirroring effect. So the quote that he used is, "An army is like a horse in that it reflects the temper and the spirit of the rider." So if you're tense, if you're unsure, if you're chaotic, anything like that, your team knows and they're gonna feed off of that. It's the same thing as like energy is transferable. So you ever walk into a room and like someone's in you know what? You ever kind of be in a bad day, but you're going past somebody and they're very animated and they're like, "Hi, hello, how are you? How's everything?" You almost immediately smile back because that energy is transferred. A lot of time, unless you're really pissed, but majority of the time the energy is transferred. There have been many times where I've walked into a room and it's been real sad, and because of that it made me sad. I've been many times I walked into a room and it was sad and I came in with that energy, and now all of a sudden everyone's talking, everyone's bubbly. So as a leader, you have to set the tone with your energy. As a leader, you can't be too high, you can't be too low, because your members feed off of that. If you're chaotic, if you're unsure, anything like that, it's really just gonna lead to the downfall of the team. So that was one thing that he talked about, kind of like that mirroring effect. Another one would be, this other one just essentially builds off of what I was saying earlier. It's because you are the leader, blame is on you. It doesn't matter if someone else messed up. It doesn't matter if someone else forgot to do something. Everything falls back to you. Because at the end of the day, if you have team members who are fumbling the ball, who don't hand things in on time, aren't reliable, it's your fault because you hired them. You should have hired better people. You should have been on your P's and Q's when you were interviewing them. These are stuff that you can't blame anybody but yourself. And when you're the leader, you have to take that blame. Similar in football, the quarterback face of the franchise. When everything is good, everyone looks at him and praises him. But when everything's bad, everything goes to him. When everything's bad, it's the quarterback. This guy can't lead it. It's funny, you think about Lamar Jackson or the Ravens. It's a team sport, but at the end of the day, people are like, this guy can't lead the team to the championship. Same with the Cowboys, even though it's F the Cowboys. They blame Dak Prescott, even though it's a team sport. So when you are the leader, it's your fault. You can't blame anything on anybody else. You just gotta take full responsibility. Another one is, you gotta be very clear with what you say. When you are commanding an army or commanding a team, you can't be too vague, you know? Because at the end of the day, like, people are kind of gonna do what they want. So you gotta actually give them direction and tell them what you actually want. Maybe it doesn't have to be step by step and you have to walk them through it step by step. It doesn't have to be like that, but it needs to be direct and straightforward. You can't really give too much to really play with, especially if this is something that's serious and needs to be taken care of, and there's specific deadlines or it needs to be performed a certain way in order for the company and the army and the team to flourish. You gotta let them know what it is. It can't be half-hearted, it can't be vague, you can't leave too much up for interpretation. You let them know what it is. As a leader, you set the tone, and they gotta understand what it is. And that way they'll get it done the way it needs to be get done. And also, let's say if they don't get it done, at least you know for a fact that you are straightforward. Now, if you delegate that to somebody else and they also mess it up, maybe you need to change your messaging. But for the most part, if it's straightforward and they mess it up, at least you know, hey, I told them straight on what it is, and that way you get to know, hey, all right, this person can't really follow rules, so get them out of here. You know, there's no need for you to stay. And the last point was, essentially, I feel like this goes for everything. It's just communication. You really, everyone needs to be on the same page. And in the book, he even talked about getting people. It's funny because he said, don't get people who are too ambitious because they might end up like leaving the company or causing strife. But he was also saying that everyone needs to be on the same page. You need to get people who are like-minded. So essentially, you're hiring people who are, yeah, they can complement your weaknesses, of course, but they have that same vision that you do. They have that same goal that you do. So even though, yeah, I might disagree here and there, they still are part of the team. They're bought into the culture of the team, and they're gonna do whatever it takes in order for that team to win because they share the same vision as the leader. So they're going to fight for you, they're gonna work for you. And that's very important. Everybody gotta be on the same page. Communication is key. He was also saying that there needs to be ways for you to communicate with everybody. It can't be too long of a chain. It can't be too long of a chain of command. If it has to go through 7 or 8 people to get to you, there's a chance that that message that was being told is gonna get diluted, and it's not gonna be the same as if you were the second person to find out. Similar to that game of telephone everyone played when we were younger. By the time it got to the last person, it was never what the original message was. It always got messed up along that line. And if your communication is crap, it's gonna lead to your company falling, it's gonna lead to your army falling, anything like that. So it's very important to have that. He also talked huge on this, and I noticed this too playing football. There can't be a divide in leadership. There can't be 2 leaders. And what I mean by that in football is like, and maybe this isn't the best example in terms of the leadership, but I would say this, there still can't be a divide within the company or within the team, is because I remember playing football when I was younger, and my boy told me this at a young age. We were all young, but he told me this, he was older than us at the time. He told me this at a young age, and it always seemed to be true, is whatever team starts arguing, that's the team that loses. Whatever team starts to bicker and yell at each other, that's a team that loses. And I've noticed it, and I used it for my advantage, because if I noticed the other team was arguing, I would get on them. I would try to continue to talk and stir that strife, because they start blaming each other, and because of that, they so focused on what he doing over there, he not gonna pay attention to guarding me, and then I cook him. Now I cook him. He's mad that I cooked him. Now his teammate mad that he cooked him. Now his teammates yelling at him. Now they're both yelling back and forth. None of them is locked into the game. And of course we win. And the same goes on my team. As soon as I notice my teammates start yelling at each other, I nip that in the bud. Yo, cut it out. We ain't doing this. Cut it out, cut it out, cut it out. Yo, we gonna talk, we'll figure it out. Someone made a mistake, that's fine. Let's sit here and let's talk it out. But we ain't gonna sit here and argue and point fingers. Because as soon as we start arguing, people stop thinking about the game. And then you lose. So he was saying, in terms of leadership, there can't be two leaders. There can't be a divide. There needs to be one person who is essentially leading the ship. Because as soon as there's more than one person, essentially that starts to kind of cause strife within the company, because now also no one knows who to go to as the head. And you know, there are many companies I feel like being run by I feel like there are always kind of multiple people in charge at very, very big companies, but I feel like the really big ones, there really be one dude in charge. And he might delegate certain things, of course, but like Tesla, you think of Elon Musk. It's not Elon Musk and this dude, nah, it's Elon. Microsoft, you think of what? Bill Gates. And it's crazy because even all these NFL organizations, like, yeah, there's the head coach and there's the GM and all that other stuff, but like a lot of things got to go through the owner because he the one signing them checks. So he really the big boss. Of course, there's the coach, and even within the coach, there's a head coach. Now there might be an assistant coach or assistant head coach, but he don't got the same power as the coach. There still needs to be one dude in charge that everyone knows, everyone reports to. So I just found it very interesting. He talked about many different facets of leadership, but those were some of the points that I really liked and that I appreciated. So I'm gonna try to remember this. All the stuff I be reading, bro, I be trying to remember. That's why I be making these videos. I'll watch it back so I can kind of remember what I be reading sometimes. Also, it's like I'm making my own little audio book, low key. You know, I can listen to this on the drive. I can't read on the drive. And I can also get a little synopsis from this, you know. Got Tyler Spark Notes type, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's pretty much it though. I'm about to get up out of here. I'm about to leave the school now. I need to go home. I need to eat. I need to do some laundry. A part of me is thinking about going to the movies to see Sinners, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna go or not. I might just like stay home and work and stuff, but we'll see. Another day in the books. Still just trying to keep on grinding, stay consistent. That's really it, man. But thank you for watching. Appreciate y'all. Keep your head up, Brody. I love you, man. Keep working, keep pushing. Peace.